Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Make a Better World. I'm your host, David Tear, and I just finished watching the second presidential debate. This one, Trump versus Harris, and I think Harris nailed this debate. I mean, you know, there's no comparison in my mind. I mean, I think that this, like I think I mentioned in my previous video about the first presidential debate. You know, Trump's just a disaster. I'm 62 years old, and I've been watching presidential debates most of my life, last 50 years, since Nixon, and I've just never seen anything like Trump. I mean, I don't want to keep talking about how terrible Trump is. I think most of you probably already know this, at least most of you watching my channel. But I want to more kind of praise Harris. I mean, I think Harris can be a really good president. I think she'll probably be one of, she may end up being the best president during my lifetime. She might even be as good as JFK or maybe even better. I don't know. But she has a very positive, optimistic message about the future of America. And she talked about real issues. She must have mentioned, like, all the issues that the reporter asked, she talked about. Trump didn't talk about any issues at all, except for maybe securing the border. I mean, that's his whole big thing. And he's just doing fear mongering. That's all he's doing. He's lying and fear mongering. And he's hoping to get the votes of, I guess, naive Americans who just, are blindly following him and think we're going to hell and think that he's our only hope in getting us out of, World War III, whatever kind of things he wants to make us afraid are going to happen. And we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need to appeal to his fear mongering. We just don't. But I think with Harris, there's a lot of hope. And, I'm very proud of Harris. I'm very proud of all the messages she's been sending. I took notes. I took 4 pages of notes on this debate. And I'm going to talk about, some of the most notable quotes she made, mostly her quotes. I have a few of Trump's quotes too. But, she said, yeah, okay. So one of her quotes early on, she said, "World leaders are laughing at Donald Trump." And she's right. I mean, he's a joke. He's a joke to most of the rest of the world. I just came back from Denmark. I was in Denmark for a week. I didn't talk that much about politics. I did talk to a few people about how fucked up Trump is, and they all agreed with me. Nobody I talked to in Copenhagen likes Trump. We become kind of a laughing stock of most of the rest of the world. At least everybody around the world, that we should be respecting. Everybody, every decent country in the world, they all think we're a joke, and we have become a joke under Trump. And they see that, and they see him as a joke. I don't think they just see him as a joke. I think they see him as a danger, which he is, and uh, um, oh yeah, and I just wrote this note myself. I said, I wrote a note that said Trump only seems to care about our enemies. He mentioned them like Russia, North Korea, China. He all praises. He praises all of our enemies. He praises everybody basically who he thinks he can ally himself with to make to build a coalition of absolute power. That's what I think. And then they talked about Israel, and I actually like Harris's stance on Israel. I have some Jewish friends who don't like Harris's stance on Israel. They think she's too pro-Palestinian, pro-Arab. But I agree with her about the two-state solution. She said Israel has a right to defend itself, but it matters how, and I agree with this. And she said the war must end. I agree with that too. And she said that we must chart a course to a two-state solution. I agree with all that. Maybe there's a lot of Jews that don't agree with me. I know there's a lot of Jews who think that Israel needs to be a lot stronger and that they have to defend themselves harder against terrorism. But, I think it's very, very sad that the Jewish homeland, which is now 76 years old, has been in almost a constant state of war for its whole history. I mean, I think that's very, very sad. I mean, I just wish the Jewish people could get along with the rest of the world and live in peace. And they don't seem to be doing that. And I think that's sad. I'd like to see that happen. And I think Harris has the right attitude about that. And what else? Um, Trump. Here's some quotes by Trump. Harris hates Israel. He said, Israel won't exist in 2 years. I mean, he just says the most crazy things. He says she hates the Arabs as well. And then he said, I'll end this war in Israel and in Ukraine before I even get elected. Bullshit. You know. And then, Harris said what I was saying earlier, the autocrats are rooting for you. Yeah, no kidding. And then, I have some more notes about Trump. Trump wants Europe to pay to end the war in Ukraine. Yeah, Trump said he wants to get out of NATO. He wants Europe to pay for the Putin's invasion of Ukraine. He supports Putin, by the way, and he kept lying about how it was Biden's fault for Putin invading Ukraine. It would have never happened with him. I mean, and then he's saying that it could lead to World War III. He's mentioned World War III several times. Harris never did. Um, what scares me is that a lot of the accusations that he was making against Harris, I think really apply to himself. And he said about Biden. He said we have a president that doesn't even know he's alive. God. And he said that Harris met with Zelensky and shared intelligence with him on how to. Oh no, Harris said that she met with Zelensky and shared intelligence with him on how to defend himself and help the allies as well. So kudos to her for all that. I think that actually, I thought this from the very beginning of Biden's presidency. I thought that Biden did a really excellent job in the way that he handled Putin's invasion of Ukraine. If it weren't for him, Putin thought he could invade Ukraine in a week, and he never did. And I think a lot of that is thanks to Biden and Harris. I mean, Biden. One of the first things Biden did after the invasion, he sanctioned Russia, and he helped Ukraine. He negotiated. Harris negotiated with Zelensky, and I know a lot of people don't like Zelensky either, but I think that Ukraine's done a pretty amazing job defending itself. Thanks a lot, in part to Biden and Harris. So I praise them for all that. And we know what's going to happen if Trump wins. He's going to ally himself with Putin again. And Putin will do whatever the hell he wants. So probably invade Ukraine and he'll probably go after a lot of the rest of Europe as well. I don't even want to think about that. But then Harris said Putin would be sitting in Kiev right now if if Trump was president, with his eyes on the rest of Europe, which is kind of like what I just said. And then Trump talked about how Putin has nuclear weapons, like he's trying to scare us that Russia might use nuclear weapons if it's not for him, negotiating peace with Putin. Um, uh, and then Harris said Trump lied about our negotiations with Putin, which he did. He lied about just about everything he said. And then they were talking about Afghanistan after that. Harris said she agreed with Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. I did too. I know a lot of people I've talked to thought it was a very premature decision to get out of Afghanistan, that we left a lot of problems there that we didn't need to. But that war on terrorism had been going on for 20 years, and that was almost 20 years too long, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, 9/11 was terrible. Well, we didn't have to have a 20-year war because of it. I mean, I think the only thing I'm happy about what we did after 9/11 was our heightened TSA, our heightened airport security. We needed that. I think if we'd had better airport security, we wouldn't have had 9/11. but we didn't need the whole war on terrorism. We especially didn't need W's invasion of Iraq. I mean, God, yeah, it's terrible that the Taliban and Bin Laden killed 3,000 people in 9/11, but how many did we kill in that war? I mean, come on. And then, oh yeah, she talked about Camp David. She said that Trump invited the Taliban into Camp David. Yeah, Trump doesn't care who he allies himself with, as long as it helps him and his cronies, the people in power, the people with money and power. That's all he cares about. So I mean, yeah, he doesn't have any problem allying himself with the Taliban. And then he said, then later they started talking about race. Harris didn't say anything about race. Trump brought it up. I mean, I guess it was one of the comments the monitor said to Trump about saying that he had said that he didn't know whether Harris was black or white. What is she? And Harris came up with a good comeback. He's trying to divide us by race, which he is doing, and he is racist. I mean, even despite all the claims that he's not racist. I remember when he was president, he even said that he's done more to help the blacks than any other president we've ever had. Bullshit, bullshit. I mean, bullshit's at the nth power. But I mean, Harris doesn't even talk about race. She thinks of us all as equal. She doesn't even think about the color of our skin, our race, our nationality. She thinks of people as people, and Trump thinks of people as pawns, in his game of power, basically. Um, and Harris said, "Let's talk about plans." When they were talking about the economy, Trump didn't say one thing about any plan he has to fix the economy. But Harris said a lot of things about it. How she was going to help families, how she's going to help small businesses get started, how she's going to, a lot. She said talked about. Let me just go on here. She said 60 times Trump tried to get out of the Affordable Care Act. That's pretty horrible. Even a lot of Republicans were against him on this. I mean, I didn't know that much about the Affordable Care Act before, but the Affordable Care Act is really good, and without it, it means that insurance companies can deny patients who have potentially life-threatening conditions. They can deny them treatment, so that they'll have to pay money they don't even have to have, or else die. I mean, that's what getting rid of the Affordable Care Act would do, and Trump is all fine with that. He doesn't care who dies as long as it's not him. And she's also said access to health care should be a right, and I agree with that. And I think it's pretty horrible that the United States is the only developed country in the world without universal health care. It should be a right. Even FDR tried to make it a right. He died before he had that chance. But now the rest of the developed world has it, and we're the only developed country that doesn't. And I think that's really, really a shame. And then I'm just going to finish here with a closing statement. Harris, I thought, made some really, really excellent closing statements. She said, basically, she started it the same way she talked in the convention. She said, "We're not going back." She said, "You have a choice in this election: go forward with her or go backward with Trump." And I completely agree with that. And we can't go back. We can't afford to go back. We never should go back. I mean, I'd even say that the whole goal of humanity is to keep moving forward. It's the whole, that's how evolution works. Evolution moves forward. And I think good is what moves forward in the direction of evolution, and evil is what moves backward. And so I think Trump is evil, and that he wants to move us backward. And she said, "I will be a president that will protect our rights." Well, good for her. I'm sure that our founding fathers are smiling from heaven for her for saying that. And I'm not even religious. This is kind of metaphorical on my part. But I'm very proud of her for saying that. And she says, I intend to be a president for all Americans. Kudos to her. You know, it's about time we had one. And Trump didn't give any good closing statements at all. All he did was attack Harris during his closing statement. And he said that with Harris there'll be a war like we with no other, with nuclear weapons under Harris. And I think we might even have that with him. So anyway, that those are just my immediate thoughts on the debate. I think the choice is clear. To anyone with half a brain, I think the choice is clear here. Harris, 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 Harris. Go Harris. Go Kamala. I'm very proud of you. I think you'll make a great president. But right now, we just have to get Trump the hell out of there. And hopefully behind bars where he belongs. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the second debate. So go Harris. And I urge you guys all to vote for her. And try to get your friends to vote for her too. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.